What would be a terrible superpower? Having an ability to steal other superpowers in a world where nobody else has superpowers. So, just like a guy. What if we all have this power? And we'll never know until someone gets superpowers. Then when someone gets superpowers, everyone will have those same superpowers overnight and it'll just seem mundane. The ability to know when someone dislikes you. That actually sounds great. It would be an instant cure for like 99% of social anxiety. If you actually know what others are thinking, then you don't worry about what others are thinking. Would take this in a heartbeat. Telepathy. It sounds great once it's controlled, but it must take years to be able to shut out the thoughts. Imagine spending even one day not being able to shut off voices. Imagine hearing people's intrusive thoughts they'd never act upon. Imagine all of the negative things you'd hear about yourself. I doubt most people would survive long enough to gain better control. Isn't that Psycho Mantis's backstory in Metal Gear Solid? That he needs a mask to avoid hearing every single thought for miles around. And his general hatred of everyone is because of how awful and disgusting the average person's thoughts are. The Midas touch. Everything you touch turning into gold wouldn't be the best thing for your long-term survival. The Uranus touch. Everything you touch turns to poop. Flying, but only one part of you flies and the rest is dragged along. Wouldn't be too bad if it was something like my hand or arm. But if it's my foot or my dick, that wouldn't be a rootin' tootin' good time. Being able to command the loyalty of sloths. Yep. That's the one. There's a giant army of sloths. Being able to make toast back into regular bread. Put toothpaste back into the tube. You can spit purified water. Drink up. You can jump slightly higher one time each year and it's randomly occurring. Okay, so I'll never jump for a whole year and then on the 31st of December at the very last second. Make it count. You can turn invisible but only when sleeping. Think about it. You could take a nap anywhere and anytime and no one would bother you. You can teleport. Bread. I have done nothing but teleport bread for the past 3 days. Double quote. You are able to fly but only because you have constant diarrhea that has the power of a jet engine. I'm prepping for a colonoscopy and I already have this power. Seeing everyone naked. Definitely would need to move to an area where people take care of themselves. Being able to freeze time but you freeze with it. If you could resume at any time. And still be conscious in that moment. Be able to see but not move your body. It could be useful in some capacity. Every time you shoot lasers from your eyes you go blind for a week. Well, I can't shoot lasers from my eyes so that won't be a problem. Thinking that the best witty answers to Reddit only after I shut my computer off. I already have this power. Shape-shifting into liquids. A hyper-advanced sense of smell in New York City. Super elastic-like. MR fantastic. But just your nose. Uncontrolled X-ray vision that passes through everything. So it's hard to differentiate from blindness. Flying but only as long as far as you can sprint. Flying but only indoors. It's not terrible. But it's just a disappointment. When I was a camp counselor, my kids and I used to write stories about a superhero whose ability was to shrink. And to only shrink. So every adventure was him trying to solve the problem without using his powers. If you want invisible you'd go blind. Actually kinda true. Like if true invisibility was a thing, all light would pass through your body. Including your eyes. A comedian once said that being able to levitate birds would be very unimpressive. But you could make penguins and ostriches fly. That would be impressive. Immortality. You'd have to watch your family. Kids. Loved ones all die and leave you alone. Meanwhile you have to watch the world slowly turn to shit. Not to mention, you'd have to endure the cold death of the universe. Where eventually every atom will be so far away from another due to the accelerated expansion of the universe that there is no interaction between any atoms. I guess you'd necessarily lose cognition before at that point. But goddamn, everything before that would be torture. Every lie you tell actually comes true. But there will always be a plot hole somewhere, so you have to keep lying until you're just living in some ridiculous fantasy world. X. I am the CEO of Microsoft. The Microsoft CEO would maybe die or be fired and you'd be scouted. Then you'd have to lie to everyone about how you got there, why you don't know how to run a company, etc. TBH, this could have some good usage, but there's always gonna be a missing link. Defense mechanism that deployed skunk spray when alerted to female presence. Farting 10 times a second. Super strength on its own, no durability. Jump really high? Break legs when you land. Lift a car? Congrats on your hernia. Ever pick something up expecting it to be heavy and you hit yourself in the face? Well, now it's not a difference of 10 pounds. It's a ton. And you knock your own teeth down your throat before it falls on you and crushes you to death. Having eyes in the back of your head. They'd just be covered by hair. In Australia, shave your head and you will be the only person free to walk around during magpie nesting season. You can turn your eyes into high-powered flashlights, but only during the daytime. Great for caves exploration. You breathe fire uncontrollably. Telekinesis, but you start coming uncontrollably as soon as you try to use it. Secreting syrup from your hands. The ability to make someone hiccup. You can use it only after someone touches you to make them suspect that you're cursed or something. The ability to know what others ate just by fart smells. I read R instead of 8 and I thought. Smells a fart and go someone. Age 47. Lawyer. 2 sons. Cheats his wife. Type 2 diabetes and drives a Hyundai. You have tastabuds on every part of your body. Every part. Lets you taste that PSSY with your DCK though, so the positives outweigh the negatives. Captain Hindsight. Only after you make a wrong decision are you blessed with the clear knowledge of exactly what the right decision was to make. You can eat without chewing anything. It still makes you fat though. Super speed. I mean, you'll joke all the time about tripping over nothing. Imagine doing that going like 700 plus mph. You wouldn't be a meat crane but more like a heavily used one. You always know when someone has shit themselves. Anywhere on the planet, if someone shits themselves, you know it and feel it. Farts that could blind or kill people. Imagine being in a room of people and you fart and everyone just keels over dead and you're just like, shit, not again. Double quote. You get a monster on your back that kills you if people see it and moves to their back. Instead of sweating you excrete lube. Had this joke superhero. Gunman. Everything he touches turns into a gun. Cool, right? Wrong. The guns have no ammo. It's just a bunch of stupid guns. I'd like some Toasa FCK, it's a gun. If you can control it. It is actually a cool power. You can be the sleekest assassin who only needs to smuggle in the ammo. Until you meet your nemesis who can turn things into ammo. After some dramatic showdown, you two find something in common. Maybe a shared parent. And work together to be an elite assassin team. Until dad shows up. Guess what his powers would be? Each time you blink, what you are looking at as you shut your eyes, whether it be an object or a living thing, is sent teleported randomly somewhere on Earth. Being a speedster without the handle of ABS means turning your organs to mush every time you move too fast. Or you set yourself on fire from friction. Sending commands to animals like Aquaman. Realistically, an animal has never had an outside command come into their brain and would just be confused and scared. Or maybe they'd simply know what you want and disobey like pets and children often do. Why should a sea turtle help you anyway? She's got stuff going on. Explosive diarrhea becomes drinkable water and you constantly have it. Also, you can't sh-tea normally. It's just water. Super speed. If you didn't have required secondary powers. Imagine tripping and sliding on concrete after going at flash speeds. Empathy, feeling up emotionally and living through everything that the people around you are experiencing. To make fictional things into reality. Super speed without any other power to help, aka realistic super speed. If you try running at 200 plus miles per hour, it wouldn't pretty. There's a reason why Flash needs the speed force and other powers. Otherwise he'd die a terrible death. You would literally explode or die if you directly hit anything above 60 miles per hour, and you wouldn't exactly be able to see where you're going. Time manipulation would be far superior as it gives off the same effect as super speed. Has additional effects. And you wouldn't be close to death with each use. The human body just isn't built for that speed. Being able to conjure the dead. But conjuring is random and uncontrollable, so you're just surrounded by random dead people. Every time you sneeze, 2 ounces of spaghetti comes out your nose. It isn't even that limp. And there is no source besides your blood and mucus. Being able to generate electricity, but you can only power things that require power. And only enough that you could make minimum wage from doing it. Super strength. Do you know how much mastery of your motor skills it would take not to kill somebody? Let's say shaking your hand. A pat on the back. A playful slap. Opening a toilet could destroy it when you're not careful. You would bend silverware. Destroy a microwave by opening it. But hey, you can punch a bad guy and save some money on moving. Any power that lacks a mechanism to protect you from its effects. Being able to shoot lightning from your hand sounds nice until it flash cooks your hands with multi-thousand degree heat. The ability to die and restart the day that you died to change the outcome, like in The Edge of Tomorrow, a movie created in 2014 featuring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. But yay, without a war or suicidal depression you won't know of your power until it is considered a curse. Basically dying of disease. Or old age. And before anybody says you could get jumped or robbed. It is very unlikely with quarantine and all that. The power will be garbage eventually. And the thought of how many people you could have saved or how useful your power would be if you had used it sooner would be regrettably high. You get an erection every time something bad is about to happen. Like a bat signal. Super speed but you have asthma. The ability to cure any illness or injury regardless of how bad it is, but only by eating exactly 2 tablespoons of the affected person's last turd. Acid bodily fluid, sweat, tears, pee, etc. Close bracket. You're immune to the acid to hurt you, but imagine hugging or having an intimate encounter. It is a manslaughter. Clothes. Anything you put in your mouth or sneeze will get decomposed by the acid. The power to jump stupidity high. You'd basically break your legs every time you land. If said power was based on the number of times a person got rejected when they asked someone out, i.e., power level goes up for every rejection. Terrible because you got rejected. Not terrible because you gained strength. The ability to generate a bar of gold inside of your stomach. But it's big enough that you can't pass it normally, and the procedure to remove it costs as much or more than what the bar is worth. Every time you sneeze, all the males in the world become females and vice versa. Except you. Being able to tell the future. But only for one object at a time. Once that future comes true, it changes to another random object. Bonus points if the omen is incredibly and uncannily specific or unlikely to happen soon. Bonus points x2 if the object isn't on Earth. End up knowing the future of a tennis ball sized hunk of rock 750 light years away? Good luck, bro. The ability to turn pencils into cheese. Like every time you go to write, your paper ends up with cheese smudges instead of pencil markings. You randomly become supernaturally repulsive. Now this can be good or even save you. If you are about to be murdered and it happens, the murderer will just run. However, it can ruin you too. You find the love of your life. Then they suddenly hate you and you lose them. The ability to have a photographic memory for only the 1965 sitcom Green Acres. Night hearing.